Awesome. All right, what's going on, guys? Dr. Matt here, host of the Rhode Strength Podcast. We got two great guests on today, Jasper, Ray Fleser. What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
Doing good. And so we're over at CrossFit 401. So especially if you see the video version, see the logo on the boxes, t-shirts, maybe even on the windows behind us. The Rhode Strength Podcast is now brought to you by Rob Levine, the heavy hitter. We've been really happy to have them jump on as a sponsor. I've personally used them this past year. My wife was in a car accident, and they were able to help us along every step of the way through getting properly compensated, making sure we weren't getting taken advantage of by the car insurance companies, and helping through with medical payments. So if you've been in a car accident, it's definitely worthwhile. Just pick up the phone and see how they can help. So yeah, super excited. I know you guys are a relatively newer team. How long has it been 401 now?
401 July will be a year. The community, it was a rebrand. Jen and I owning this spring is 3 years, and this community originally a little over 10 years.
Nice. Okay. So a lot of history, but a recent rebrand
Yes.
for it. Very cool. And I definitely want to talk about that a little bit. So for the intro, I just wanted to just briefly kind of give you guys your flowers, give you guys your accolades, and then we'll get into the rapid fire questions and then a little bit more of like the meat and potatoes of the podcast. So you guys are co-owners over here at 401. You both have had a lot of experience from a competition side of things, but also from a credential and coaching side of things. So Jen, just semi-recently at Nationals and Worlds for weightlifting, which is super cool. Set some records that I think are still standing as far as I looked.
I think the national ones are. I'm not sure about the world ones.
Okay. Those, I mean, to have it even once is incredible. Just big picture for your age qualification for your competition, you had the best lifts and nobody was better than you, which is so cool to think about.
That was a good day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very good day.
And then Ray, I know your competition, especially, I know you've done some Olympic lifting too, but especially in the CrossFit, have been to the games multiple times, which is the highest level that you can compete at the sport, which is so awesome.
Well, went to the games once, but the CrossFit Games, if you want to call professional level of that, is usually once you start seeing what used to be regionals will wind up becoming sanctionals, then semifinals, and some of the things like Wadapalooza, competing in the elite division. Did that for quite a while.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I could list them off, but you guys also have various coaching competencies as far as like Olympic lifting through CrossFit, and then I think I saw like gymnastics certifications, multiple certifications through the CrossFit organization. And I want to talk about this a little bit more too. But you also, Ray, have been pretty involved in rugby.
Yes.
Since early on.
Yes.
So we'll get into that as well, and some pretty good accomplishments through that. Was it nationals?
So throughout the course of my rugby career, I've made it to the national kind of competition, the national tournament twice. Once back with Boston Rugby in my early 20s, which was a USA Division I team, and then this past year with Providence Rugby, which is USA Division III team.
Very cool. The whole rugby thing really interests me too. I have a couple friends who are over at Newport Rugby, so don't hold that against me. But
so I actually played with Newport in my late 20s, and just what kind of money USA Rugby had for advancement in national competition at that point in time, there just wasn't a national run for the Division II teams, and we got the short end of the stick because the two fall seasons that I played with Newport, it was actually a lot of the guys I played in Boston with, we won out. We won the New England division. So had there been a national tournament those years, we would have gone to it. So advanced with Division I, advanced with Division III, and in between was Division II. Would have advanced. They just didn't have nationals those couple of years I played with Newport.
That's cool. And the whole not to get too off track already, but the whole rugby, it seems like setting in Rhode Island is. I mean, you have those two teams.
Yep.
You have Providence and Newport, and it seems like the history behind both of those teams, and there's probably plenty of commingling that goes on. But I was talking to a friend of mine who's like, yeah, we have these like, it's very like club-like, almost similar to CrossFit.
Yeah.
I would say like we have these like meetings like once a year, and we'll give away awards, and everybody will show up from the generations before.
Yep, the
and
old
it's
boys.
just one big family. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of history in it, and in a club. There's a lot of history in a club, just like there would be, if gym has a legacy of competition and they put forth a team to compete year after year, there's going to be generations of competitors, people who used to compete, hope to see the gym keep, going with it. And the same thing happens with rugby. People who, gave blood to the club back in the 90s want to see the club, still flourishing in the 2000s. People who played then come back and, watch and want to see the club still flourishing in the, 2020s. And you see the new generation of players come in. So yeah, there's definitely history within each rugby club for sure.
And you're still active playing right now as well?
Yes. So we, again, the season's changed, sort of like the CrossFit season. There's minor changes every year. So last year it was the full regular season in the fall, and then the spring was directly into the national tournament. This particular year, the fall was the regular season, and then the spring picks up with playoffs towards the national tournament, and we qualified for playoffs. So we've been practicing for the last couple of months. I'm actually hosting the rugby team here tonight at the gym for training, and we have a scrimmage, like a tournament, on Saturday, but we actually start our season in a few weeks.
Very cool.
And we're two games away from making it to that national tournament. So it's single elimination playoff. So if we lose our first game, we're out. If we win our first game, we move on to the second. We win that, we move on to the national tournament.
Wow. So it doesn't take too many games. It's not like a massive bracket. You're
nope.
Close.
So the Northeast sends its delegate. It's the winner of the Northeast. So that's the top 8 teams. So it's a two game bracket.
Very cool. That's awesome. So right, and
top 4 teams. My mistake. Top 4 teams.
No, you're good. So we'll get into the rapid fire questions in a second. But Jen, I meant to mention you're also a speech language pathologist, which I can sympathize with as a physical therapist. I've worked with definitely a lot of SLPs in the past. So tell me a little bit how you went from, or I mean, you're still working as a speech pathologist as well?
So
Yeah.
I actually about a month and a half ago just left my school position. I was working full time in a school while also working here and owning the gym for almost 3 years. And it just got to be a lot doing both. And we wanted to focus more of my time here. I wanted to focus more of my time here. So I just recently transitioned from speech to full-time gym ownership. And it's been awesome. I love it. It's great. I imagine I'll do some speech privately to maintain my license, and I do love it. But the school schedule made it hard to do some things here that we have on our agenda. So
Totally. Yeah. I'm sure it must be tough to juggle like a full-time gig and trying to push, because you guys have running a great gym here.
Thank you.
To be trying to do both at the same time would be tough.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot.
So we'll get into a little bit of the rapid fire questions next. So these are more fun for me, but I hope the listeners enjoy them too. But we'll start off with each of you guys can say your favorite coffee shop in the area.
I love Nitro Bar.
Nice.
I love Nitro Bar.
In Providence?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Probably not the answer you'd get on a lot of fitness podcasts, but I like to drink the adult beverage. So my favorite coffees, that'd be either Main Street Coffee in East Greenwich for the espresso martini, or Ocean Mist for the coffee with love.
I do love both of those drinks. The coffee with love is a great answer. Definitely have had one too many of those in the past. Which if you have more than one, usually is one too many because they're strong.
So delicious, though.
Yeah, they're very good. That's a great answer. I was going to say there's another place in Smithfield, I think, that's very similar to Brewology, yeah. That place is good too.
Yeah.
Coffee shop during the day.
I've only been there for the coffee shop portion. Haven't been there for the drink portion yet.
Yeah. If you like Main Street, I would check that out. That's a good spot too. Next one, we got favorite go-to breakfast spot. And if you're someone who just makes your own breakfast at home, like you can say that too.
I tend to make my own breakfast, and it's pretty much the same: eggs, sweet potatoes, green beans. I like green beans for breakfast.
In the morning.
I know, that's weird.
All right.
And English muffin or toast or whatever kind of bread I have handy. So yeah,
cool.
Pretty much the same every day.
Hey, that's a healthy breakfast.
I throw veggies in there, sometimes broccoli.
That's from talking to I use Black Iron Nutrition right now to help me, and that's one thing they're always trying to get me to do. Like, get some sort of color in your, because it's hard in the breakfast time. Is hard to do that.
If you make a frittata, you can put everything in it with some sausage and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
That's pretty similar. Usually make breakfast at home, do the same thing. Like 5 or 6 eggs, a couple pieces of whole grain toast, and then some jelly and cream cheese. And if I go out, it's usually because I'm in a pinch. I don't really go out to like fancy breakfasts. I usually save that for like lunch and dinner if I'm going to go out. So if I don't have a lot of time, and I mean like inside of 10 minutes, there's a place directly across the street called Coffee Connection. And if I have a little bit more time, 20 or 30 minutes, there's a place a few miles away that I think is just a scotch better, but it takes a little bit longer, and that's Bagel Connection.
No.
Wait.
Such a Bagels across the street. Coffee Connections around the corner.
Okay. In my mind, they're the same thing. They're the fast one or the medium paced one. So
Sure.
okay.
You know by time.
She's got there's one across the street. There's one 3 miles away.
Nice. They got a Coffee Connection in North Providence too, so that's a good spot.
Yeah,
I know that. Next one we got favorite recent book, and if you're more of a podcast person, maybe favorite recent podcast, or you can answer both if you want.
I haven't really read a book lately, just because I have no time for that.
That's fair.
I try to read and I fall asleep.
Yeah.
A podcast I listen to a lot is Best Hour of the Day.
Yeah.
With Jason Ackerman.
Yep.
And it's a lot of stuff about running the business and coaching and stuff like that. And they're really quick, so like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I can put it on like in the morning if I'm getting ready or on the way to work or whatever. And I just get like little snippets of ideas or whatever. Just kind of keeps your mind fresh.
That I've heard of that one. I haven't listened to it yet, but I noticed when I was doing a little research for the podcast, one of the first things on your website is best hour of your day, which is such a ground level like CrossFit like mantra that I think a lot of gyms have gotten away from. But I like how you guys have that like right on the main page.
Yeah, because it is right. Like people come in and this is their time to unwind and have to themselves. So
yeah,
we want to make it awesome.
I love it. It's good.
I also have not read many books lately.
It's tough as a gym owner. You guys are busy.
Some good articles here and there. But I was just on the Move to Heal podcast. So in getting ready to do that, listening to a few of their podcasts and one with a guy, Joe Birchfield, who actually is a part of our program here. And he just talked about stuff I've already heard him talk about quite a bit, but always great to see people that who are doing something awesome get some more exposure with it. So even though I heard everything he said, I'd already heard him say in person on a number of occasions, it was still great to see him say it on that platform.
That's cool. I like that. And you were just telling me a little bit off air about how the class you were on the Move to Heal podcast as well, right? Yeah. And talking a little bit about the class you guys run here, which I want to get into as well. And just same thing, doing some research for the podcast. I listened to you guys on Savon as well, so that was good. It's a long one. I didn't get to the whole thing yet, but I will. It was so far so good. I think I'm like 20-30 minutes in.
Yeah, Savon and Brian Friend. Yes. And I go way back. We met at Wadapalooza in 2000. I don't even know, 2019, 2020, something like that. That was a fun time being on that show.
Cool. It seemed like he was being pretty nice. Sometimes he's a little cutthroat.
Well, if you keep going with it,
he was actually nice to the whole time.
Yeah, if you keep going with it, he takes a quick spin towards the politics.
Okay.
And I gave very
good answers, or
blanket generic answers to get back on the fitness track.
Nice.
I was
steer him in the right direction. That's good. Got to be a politician sometimes. Next question, similar. Favorite Instagram accounts, and the way I describe it, I mean, if you hate Instagram, you can say that too, but the way I describe it is something that comes up on your feed, is exciting, entertaining, makes you laugh, or something that's like interesting or educational maybe. So something that you're like, oh, that's an account I like, basically.
You go first.
My Instagram is real, just repetitive, just people doing CrossFit or powerlifting or Olympic lifting. And it's the same thing, just infinite scrolling, except I follow a good amount of like science accounts or like NASA or animal accounts, and some account that like popped up as, you might like this, it's just like highlights of people who've adopted like itty bitty little animals they found in the wild, and it came up on my discovery page as something you might like. So it's like somebody finds like a baby raccoon, and it's like clips of them like raising this raccoon, and they found a baby like
Otter.
panther or otter. And all of a sudden I'm like, I want a pet otter. I want a pet panther.
So we're going to have the first gym raccoon.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Or I want to, like, I don't know. I just got super jealous just looking at these people like raising, like, oh, they found a bear. And now all of a sudden the dude's got a pet bear. So that's my account of the day.
I love that. That's great. I always get great answers for that question, so I keep it in there.
Well, how many times am I going to look at somebody do a clean and jerk? But
Yeah.
adopting an otter, on the other hand,
That's different.
That's got my attention.
I don't spend a ton of time on Instagram,
This
and
is a
it's
good
mostly the people that I know, and so I don't really have any cool answer like an otter. But I guess I really enjoy Dave Castro's posts.
Yeah.
He makes me laugh.
We get the. I mean, by the time this is released, we'll know what it is. But his hint recently. You guys have any ideas for his open?
They're nonsense.
They're nonsense.
Okay, so like you're asking us questions right now that you say, "Oh, we're gonna go rapid fire questions just to spark conversation."
Yeah.
That's what his clues are.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a mushroom.
Yeah.
Because when he wrote it out, and I made a joke in our programming app that people have, like him writing on the board looked as delusional as Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind, where he's like making up a war against, like, with the Soviets, and I'm like it's just so scatterbrained. And then when it was done, he's like, "See, it looks like a mushroom." I'm like,
even after he finished writing, I'm like, so what's the
Where's
workout?
the mushroom? Right?
how and how
And what if?
how was last
mushroom?
week? How was last week a pawn?
I don't know. I missed that whole
through
reference.
the chest, but whatever. It's just a way to get people talking. So like a drumstick being eaten by a pit bull. Oh, this one's gonna hurt. They all hurt.
They all hurt. Yeah.
Oh, this one's gonna burn your legs. They all burn your legs.
Right.
I think we do a little contest each week with our members. But like I just throw it up on Facebook and give them free Fit Aid if they guess. It's again like to get people talking about it. And the best one I've heard so far is that big dogs eat, so we'll get to lift weights. That's the best
like
guess.
that.
All right.
Jason Gormley, you guessed that one.
Dogs gotta eat.
Yeah.
Big dogs gotta eat.
And I was like, oh, I like it. Please let
Yeah.
that be it. We'll know, like while we're talking, we'll know what it is.
We'll know. Yeah, it'll come up probably a little after. Is it exactly at 3? They announced it, like a little after. Yeah, we'll get it live on it. Yeah. Next question: somewhere you traveled recently? So it could be for vacation, could be for work related, competition related, whatever.
So I just got back from Spain and Paris. Actually, I have a good answer for that one. My daughter is traveling abroad. She's in school. She goes to Boston College, but she's in Madrid this semester. So I went out to visit her a couple of weeks ago. So we went to Madrid. I met her in Madrid, and then we went to Paris for a few days, and then back to Madrid. It was cool.
I think I saw one of your. Maybe it could have been you, but it was someone else. So did you just post a picture of Spain recently?
Yeah.
I think I saw you in front of there's a statue with a fountain on there.
Yeah.
And I went to Spain for like a long weekend, like high school trip. And I took a picture in front of that same statue.
Oh,
I'm like, it just brought me back because I hadn't seen it since then. Oh, cool! Like,
Yeah,
it was that's awesome.
It was fun.
I had a busy fall. So I went to California to see one of my real close friends. It was my teammate at the 2017 CrossFit Games. Graduate with a special warfare school in California for the Navy. So went out to California to see that. Got back. Was back for a short period of time. Went to Arizona to coach Jen and several other athletes at the Masters Legends competition. Actually, all those athletes. So that was Arizona. Got back from that. Was home for a short period of time. And went and met my girlfriend's family, who lives she's from Alabama. So went down to Alabama and did Christmas there. And then was back for a very short period of time and went to Miami for Wadapalooza to coach a team that the gym had at Wadapalooza, as well as an individual that the gym had, and then a program follower. So 2 individuals and a team that the gym had. And on my way down, a buddy of mine hit me up and was like, "Hey, can you hop in? Our teammate just went down with the flu." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'm coming down. I got my workout gear. Let's get to it." So 4 bits of travel in a couple of months, and hopefully not much more for a little bit. It feels good to just get in the rhythm because that was a hectic few months.
That's cool. I saw that on your Instagram too, the competition at Wadapalooza. How was that getting back into it?
Well, I haven't competed in a few years, and I don't have any anticipation of competing again anytime soon. But I definitely stay decently, operational with my skill set. I practice everything, from handstand walks to pistols to muscle ups to lifting, but not nearly in the capacity that competitors would do them in. I'm lucky if I work out, an hour a day, 5 days a week, whereas, to compete at that level, it's significantly more than that. So my volume is not nearly what it used to be. So I would do pretty well on the floor, but then we would pose for a picture and I would look like, a deceased carcass on the ground and my teammates are on their feet smiling with their six packs. So I did all right when it was time to go, but I paid the price. So it did feel really good to be doing it again.
That my follow up. I think you may have answered already, but it was cool to see you back on the competition floor. Any no potential competition in the future at this point?
Not at this point. Not at this point.
Yeah, just coaching.
Yeah.
Cool. Coaching and running the business. Love it. Next question we got: favorite shoe or sneaker? Could be outside the gym. I had some people be like, "Oh, I love my Jordans outside the gym," or like your CrossFit shoe. What do you like to train in?
I wear Nanos pretty much exclusively to work out in.
There we go. Showcasing them right now. Those are nice. They're pretty white too.
They're comfy. I like
the
them.
White shoes. I get the white. The white shoes are hard to keep white.
The Metcons are so pretty. They have such good colors, but they don't fit me well. So
fair. Yeah, these I got the new Metcons on right now, and they kind of feel compared to they're pretty stiff.
Yeah, I like the look of them. They look really cool, but they just don't work for me. And then I just bought a pair of Brooks running shoes, not for running because I don't like to run, but for coaching because they're really comfortable.
Fair, yeah, definitely. Got a good cushion on there. Good.
So I haven't bought workout shoes in a really long time because we'd always wind up getting like sponsors during competition that would give me shoes, and I don't particularly care if things are kind of like outdated or dirty. They're running their course. I'm at a point where like a lot of my shoes are looking pretty beat up, but I'm still rocking. One time we did Wadapalooza and Noble gave us 6 pairs of shoes. You know what I mean? So like 99 problems, but workout shoes ain't one. But they're starting to, again, I haven't done that in years, so those shoes are starting to go. But coaching and being on my feet for so long, the shoes you coach in really mean more than the shoes you spend an hour in. And no matter what you wear, working out sometimes hurts your feet, but feet would just get sore. So I joke around and call them dad shoes, but like New Balances. And I couldn't believe how expensive they got. Like
really?
Not the trendy ones that like kids might wear, like, high school kids might wear, but like the daddish looking, I think they're like the 990s is they were like
the lawnmower
$200
style. Yeah.
And so I got them, and like I don't work out in them. All I do is coach in them, and they are like beat. So they only got a couple months use. I joke around. I say like things are not ray proof. Somehow I quicken the shelf life of everything. And Jen was like, "Hey, I'm going to go over to the shoe store in Providence, get some running shoes. Do you want anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, get me a new pair of dad shoes because these things like didn't last a month." And she came back with these.
Ooh, the On Clouds.
And
all right.
These things look like they came out of the box, and they're several months old. So I know the price point on them is a little bit more than a lot of people are wanting. I think these were somewhere around $220, but they're like 3 months old and they look brand new. They feel awesome. They're comfortable on my feet. And that's much better than the New Balances. And I mean, if I coach all day and a pair of Noble flats, I'm calling in the next day with like plantar fasciitis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I'm in that weird in between right now because the barefoot shoes are so popular. And I've been kind of using. Can't wear them all the time because my feet get beat up. But I like the idea of like having like a barefoot style shoe to use all the muscles of your feet that you might not normally use. But like if I'm doing like a CrossFit workout or I'm gonna be on my feet a lot, I'm like I need some support. I need some cushion on there for sure. So I get that. That's totally true. That's funny. I think I don't know if he actually said this as his answer or it was just assumed because he always wears them. But I think you guys know the guys over at Providence Barbell Club, Coach Dave. He's been a big New Balance guy for a while. Yeah. So
because you're on your feet.
Yeah.
And it's concrete. It's like we're standing on concrete.
Yeah,
we're not standing on something cushy.
It's rubber on concrete, essentially. So it's basically concrete.
And I hate sitting when I coach. If you ever see me sitting down when I coach, it's because my feet are throbbing.
Sure.
I don't like to do it, but you're just on your feet for so long. And I know, like, if you talk to other people who are in that kind of field, like, like nurses, there's the footwear they wear, or bartenders, waiters, the footwear they wear. That's like the most important part of their uniform. Is like, what can I stand in for the next 12 hours?
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good answer. Next question. We'll change gears just slightly. We got favorite CrossFit movement, and the way I describe this would be, let's say the open workout. Well, it drops in about 20 minutes, and there's movement on there, and you're like, yes, I can crush this.
I'd like a 1 rep max snatch, please.
I would too. Have they done that in the open?
Not just standalone, I don't think. Not just a standalone 1 rep.
That'd be
like
nice
at
to
the end
see.
of like do a whole bunch of stuff first and then you can lift some weight. But like they've done it with thruster last year, and before that, was there a clean complex? There was a clean complex. There was a gymnastics chipper and then a clean complex. I can't remember what it was.
It was a
front squat.
deadlift. It was a deadlift, 2 hang cleans, I think it was,
and a shoulder
and
overhead.
a shoulder overhead.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't think there's ever just been like one lift all by itself.
Yeah.
That would be a dream.
That would be cool. Yeah.
I'd actually rather you save that for like quarterfinals or semifinals.
Sure.
Where it
That'd be
weighs,
cool.
it's weighed a little more. Yeah. I mean, 1 reps for me require me to be doing a significant amount of weightlifting. Kind of like my homeostasis, as I'd say, is not like people come in on any given day and they're like, they're as strong as they've ever been. When you talk to guys who have clean and jerked, north of 350, snatch north of 275, those aren't everyday numbers. Those aren't numbers you maintain 365 days a year. So you got to like prepare to be able to do those, and then you got to deload from there. But no matter kind of what is going on, whether I'm in a position to hit really heavy lifts, moderate weight snatches. Like if you put 205 to 225 on the barbell and you give me 10 minutes, I'll snatch that bar with the best of them. So that's moderate weight snatches is, for a lot of people, it would be heavy. For what I'm talking about, snatches at 225 to 205 to 225 for a while, that'd be my fave.
He actually programmed a workout that was awesome the other day. Moderate weight snatches, wall balls, and toes to bar. All things I loved. That was perfect.
I like that a lot. I think there was a post I saw from you. It might have even been last year with it was just repetitive reps at 225.
Yeah, so 100 snatches for time at 225. Well, I saw that to me is like the mental toughness to get through something like that, because you're going to be there for a really long time, and the focus to do something like that, because you can run for 40 minutes and you can be in la la land. You're thinking about the song, you're thinking about other stuff, but every single lift at that weight has to require the utmost focus. And once you get tired, like just 1 degree off or early, and it doesn't happen. And I saw the Wall Street weightlifter account. Yeah. He's amazing. Like his lifts, that guy is absolutely amazing. And I saw him do it, and he was like just under 50 minutes. And then I saw Ben Smith kind of echo him and do it, and he was like just over 40 minutes, and I'm like, I think I can do that in under 40 minutes. So I averaged like 3 reps a minute for the majority of it. A couple I had to go to a 30-second interval, but I ended up breaking 40 minutes. So I was like, I got no delusions. I am nowhere near as strong as the Wall Street weightlifter. That guy is amazing, and I am nowhere near as fit as Ben Smith on his worst day. He's amazing, but I did do 100 snatches at 225 pounds faster than those guys. So.
There we go. I love that. Is there anybody that's beaten that time? Do you know?
I mean, Ben Smith wound up with some serious back problems after it. So he kind of threw up a post following it saying like, that was like dumb of me to do whatever. So I don't really think too many people were in a rush to do it.
Nice. So as far as we know, that time hasn't been beaten.
It's the time to beat.
There we go.
Matt Frazier hasn't competed in 2 or 3 years. I'm pretty sure he could still do it.
Maybe,
Unbroken.
He still looks pretty fit.
On the whole time.
The flip side of that question is going to be, let's say a movement comes up and you're like, this is really something I need to like work on, or something I need to get better at, or something I am currently working on.
Ring muscle ups are like the bane of my existence.
Sure.
I can do them if I have to. I'm actually getting a little bit, I don't even want to say better at them, more consistent with them. But it's just always been something I've struggled with. That's
been my big goal for this Open too. So I love the opportunity to try it, but I'm like, that's not going to be one of my best movements by far.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
We're getting there, but it just, I don't know.
Really? Yeah, that's a good answer.
I mean, I have pretty much the full skill set, and I've been pretty diverse in my athletic development over the course of my life. So even when things I haven't been trained on kind of come up, like double under crossovers, like just kind of figured that out pretty instantly. So for me, it's more of a discomfort thing. just injuries when I was younger, and the older people would say, "Oh, you're gonna feel that when you're my age. You're gonna feel that when you're my age." Like, yeah, okay, bro. But they were right. They were right. And a stiff arm I gave somebody back when I played with Newport, and I felt a pop in my wrist, and it's come and gone here and there. It has been very, very, very present for a while now. So I can do cleans, but I just squat cleans and front racks. I just hate doing them because it just hurts so much to catch a bar. And tendonitis in my elbow. Rope climbs. Just I can do muscle ups all day, toes to bar muscle ups, chest to bar. None of those things bother. But for whatever reason, this action here on a rope climb, and I can still do them, but they're just excruciating.
Totally. Yeah, that's fair. So, do you think you'll do some of the quarterfinal workouts?
That quarterfinals is going to happen right when we're into the rugby weekend.
Sure.
And
okay.
and also there's going to be so many athletes here that qualify now that it's the top 25%. So between the Masters, the Open Division, top 25%, and then we got the gym did put in for a team. It's the whole gym is on the roster. So we're right on the cusp there. Quarterfinals, people do not realize unless you're in the game, unless you're actually like in the game, people do not realize how hard quarterfinals is to make in the team division. They're right on the cusp. So I might do them just to get a feel for it, but my focus will definitely be on coaching, orchestrating, and assuming we're in good standing rugby.
Makes sense. I ask because usually there's some sort of rope involved.
And I can do them. I just it really hurts.
Last rapid fire, which these are never rapid, so that's totally fine.
I was like, wait.
Favorite current, like past like 1 or 2 weeks, pump up or gym song for either you as an athlete or for your class? Could be guilty pleasure or whatever.
I don't know the names of songs. Right. I honestly, God, I'm the worst. I love working out to country. I'm kind of in the minority.
Okay.
But like a Metcon, maybe not, but lifting,
sure.
I definitely love working out to country.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When we went to Arizona, I don't really find new music. People got to tell me, "Hey, Ray, play this song."
That's
and I'll
true.
put it on the list.
Plays the same songs.
Shut up, Jen. Anyways, they're throwing me under the bus. She's right. We were in Arizona. We dropped in a gym, and I just heard like this rap song that of all the genres, rap is definitely not something I would go pursue and look up on my own. But I was like, oh, this beat slaps. So it's called "No Reason."
No Reason. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
stay tuned. We'll find it.
Featuring Young Jeezy, Nipsey.
Okay, I think I've heard that one.
So either way, yeah, No Reason by Mustard, featuring. I don't know if it's Young Jeezy or if YG is its own dude.
He's different. Yeah, YG is different.
So yeah, there's my experience with rap. But that song's pretty good. And every time I play it, you just watch like a bunch of people's heads.
Yeah, they're jamming. Young Jeezy is funny because he's old now, so he dropped the young.
All right, so
he knows this guy.
Oh, so there's YG, and then there's also Jeezy.
OG Jeezy.
Yeah, he's old Jeezy now. But okay, cool. So I want to get into kind of how you guys built the brand, built 401, how that came to be. We can go back as far as we want. I don't know, maybe as a starting point, just from listening to Savon's podcast, there was a 401 before.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Ray, how like, I know you were at URI doing some rugby and then kind of got into CrossFit. I think that kind of blends into the whole story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to URI for kinesiology and wasn't quite sure it was going to be phys ed or training. Wasn't really sure where it was going to go. But big into exercise, doing what a lot of people would do. I played football in high school, so there was some powerlifting elements. Was learning to clean, but nothing was refined. There was no Instagram, let alone all the tools that are at people's disposal now. I mean, if you want to get into weightlifting now, there's so much opportunity to learn. For me, what was a clean? Jump the bar on your chest. What's a jerk? We didn't know. Push jerk, split jerk. Just jump the bar over your head. Snatch was do it in one movement without touching your chest. I did it with the same grip. We didn't know what the heck we were doing, but and I was decently fit, at least amongst my peers. And my college rugby coach at the time, this guy Nate Godfrey, was like, "Hey, check out this website. They got these workouts." And we were doing them, and that was the first time I would do a workout that felt like a rugby match. I mean, because you can do bench, pec flies, you can do deltoid raises in military press, but unless you went and you like ran, you really didn't and you'd look pretty silly if you were at like the normal gym. Maybe these days times have changed, but if you were doing burpees of the level of CrossFit in a traditional gym, you would look pretty goofy. So that wasn't really done. So the first CrossFit was a bunch of rugby players from URI on the rugby field playing with kettlebells or some dumbbells, some old rusty equipment, doing workouts we found on main site. And then Nate ended up getting some money together and made CrossFit 401 next to Schneider Electric, and it pretty much survived on URI Rugby and Schneider Electric. And then I ended up getting hired with Ocean State. Ended up partnering up with my former partner, Dave Ward Smith, and his father, Paul, and bought it from the founder, Aaron Meredith, and his partner, Matt Shaleri. So then David, Paul, and myself owned Ocean State. Then Dave, Jen, and myself partnered up and bought No Risk off of Judah Boulay, who I had known from those early days of CrossFit 401. Judah was on the rugby pitch with us. He's the coach of Bryant Rugby, and he's a really, really, really talented and well-known ref. So he would actually stay in shape to be able to ref. He's a really good ref. And we ended up buying Jen, David, and myself No Risk and rebranding it Ocean State CrossFit North about 3 years ago. And then about a year ago, David and I decided to go our separate ways, and he would stay in Cranston with the name Ocean State, and Jen and I would stay in Smithfield, and he would no longer be part of Smithfield. I'd no longer be part of Cranston. So they stayed with the Ocean State name. Jen and I needed to rebrand. And since the last 12 years, it was right before COVID, Nate had closed the doors of 401, so that name was available. I hit him up to get his blessing, and he gave it. So didn't really need it, but wanted it. Obviously wanted to start the right foot with good juju. So he was happy to hear that the name was coming back. So then Jen and I got to the drawing board with branding and how we wanted it to look. When we, as we were joking about earlier, took a lot of effort to appear that lazy, but this very simple logo that we have there took a good amount of back and forth with graphic designer. We want it simple, we want it bold, we want it very, very, very clean, just CrossFit 401. We finished on that. Then the rest of re-signing the building, painting, changing around the layout of the building, website, all that started happening. That was done probably by around September. So we've been running full speed. We've been running full speed nonstop. We never shut anything down. But I'd say that the gym you see right now has had some changes, but it's been pretty polished up since around last September as CrossFit 401.
That's very cool. And since then you've taken 6, 7 people to legends, multiple athletes. So been doing pretty good so far. Yeah. One other point of that I wanted to touch on is I'm always curious about the very early days of CrossFit in Rhode Island. What year are we talking about? With the URI rugby?
Well, it was before I went. The very first summer we started doing this stuff, and it was on a website. It was before I went with the military, so that was my junior year. So that was probably 2009.
Okay, cool. So that's very early days of CrossFit. So I wonder. I know CrossFit Providence also is one of the earlier.
Yep. So Mike Liberatore and Judah Boulay, they had kind of Mike Liberatore was one of the guys who was original with CrossFit Providence. They all had ties with rugby. So again, rugby was a big endorsement for the early days of CrossFit, because is doing 20 minutes of running and burpees and kettlebell swings going to make you a better football player? Probably not. General conditioning, sure. But probably not. The original, days of CrossFit, those things were very, very, very applicable to the stimulus of playing a rugby match.
Sure. That's really cool. So it seems like CrossFit got big in Rhode Island because of rugby. Almost. It was
definitely. Well, you got to figure Judah Boulay was down on the rugby field doing CrossFit out of the equipment locker with Nate Godfrey, myself, a lot of the URI guys, and he wound up coming up here and Well, actually, he wound up coming up to Providence and was involved with Mike and some of those people in the early days and started CrossFit Providence. And then they spun off and he ended up opening up No Risk. So like pretty much the first, 4 gyms in Rhode Island were Ocean State, maybe Full Range. I don't know exactly when they started, but Providence, Ocean State, Rhode Island, and Full Range. And most of those guys had rugby ties. One of the founders of Ocean State, Mike Burling, was a rugby player.
Wow.
So active rugby player at the time of starting Ocean State.
And they all have ties to each other, it seems like. That's pretty cool. I think it was back. So when you were at URI too, switching gears slightly, you got your kinesiology degree there?
I didn't actually get my degree. I did a few years of school, took a little while off, joined the Air National Guard, went back to school, and then had some personal things come up that took a little break, planned on going back, but ended up getting a couple of certifications and working in the field. And I always planned on going back, at least at first, but kind of one, semester at a time that I didn't go back and I was working in the field. I'm like, well, I don't need a degree. And now I'm getting experience. Like, why would I go back to school, pay to take an internship when I'm already working in the field? I'm already getting more experience. So I ended up spending more money on certifications than it would have cost me to go back. But at the time I was like, it'd be like going back to get a degree once you're already a practicing real estate agent. You got your license. You're a licensed realtor. Why are you going to go back to college? Like, no, go take a seminar, go take a clinic. But yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. The question I was going to ask you on that is, back in the early days of CrossFit and the NSCA, there was so much beef between the two. And even when I went to school for kinesiology originally too, and there was a lot of, I would graduate in 2013 from UMass, and there was a lot of the kinesiology classes are like, Olympic lifts are good, but don't do them super fast.
Okay.
Like CrossFit isn't good. So I'm curious what they were talking about when you were there.
So obviously the CrossFit hate, right? I don't know how you said we're not going to go longer than an hour. So I don't really know if we can answer this, but all right. A couple of reasons I think there was a lot of hate in CrossFit. Number one, people get hurt. Can you get hurt in CrossFit? Absolutely. You can get hurt in anything. Do anything with intensity. The number one career-ending injury of high school kids used to be the rolled ankle from soccer. It's now the torn ACL from basketball. Non-contactual injuries. They didn't get hit by a person. It was gravity beat them, and now they don't play sports anymore. Can you get hurt playing CrossFit? Let's call it that. Like, let's not say CrossFit's exercise. Let's call it a sport, right? Can you get hurt doing it? Of course you can. You can get hurt playing any sport. But if you learn it safely, if you don't go beyond your means too fast, it can be extremely safe. And to take that one step further, people come in all the time and say, oh, well, I've got this bad this, I've got this bad that. I'm like, bad shoulder, bad knee, bad wrist, whatever. And it's like, well, if we go light and we learn the movements the right way, CrossFit should not hurt that. CrossFit should help that. So to think that exercise is dangerous versus that's competitive exercise. Exercise from a wellness standpoint and a rehabilitation standpoint is still done within the walls of a CrossFit. If Jen is doing the open tomorrow, she's not doing it for health and wellness and joint rehabilitation. She's doing it as a competitive athlete. So there's different ways you can do CrossFit. And I think a lot of, people just right away looked at the competitive aspect of it. I also think that CrossFit brings about injuries you already had that you didn't know. So a lot of times people will go about their life and, maybe their shoulders are tight. They avoid things in the gym, or they just don't bring things to the surface, underlying issues. You come to CrossFit, every stone gets unturned. So you're going to find out if your knee works. You're going to find out if your hip works. So a lot of times we'll see people that had underlying issues that didn't even know it get brought to the surface, and then misdiagnosed if I got hurt doing CrossFit. You were already hurt. CrossFit let you know. Also, I think a lot of it was exposure. And I think this was really, really, really rude that people would make fun of CrossFitters who had bad form. And I'm like, dude, do you have any idea how hard it is to walk on your hands, to learn how to do ring muscle ups, to learn how to do kipping pull-ups, to learn how to do the sport of Olympic lifting? Do you know how hard it is to do it? We're not talking about sitting on the preacher curl machine or the leg extension. Very, very, very difficult. And you're making fun of these people because they're not perfect on it, right? So you see people in CrossFit's early days that didn't look so good. And that'd be like saying that football is an absolute joke and everybody who plays football moves like absolute trash if if all you ever saw was videos of 8-year-olds playing Pop Warner football. It's like, yo, man, they're trying, they're learning it, they're running like a dummy, and they're dropping the ball, they're trying it. Give them a little bit. See if they can turn into something cool. And then also another thing, I think the big one, which will be the final point, I think was jealousy. At the end of the day, there's no mirrors here. We don't work out our arms. We don't have chest day. We don't have ab day. We do functional movements that are very hard to learn, very humbling to learn, very frustrating. You got to check your ego at the door. You think you're macho, and then all of a sudden you're getting beat by an 8th grade girl, right? Like, sorry, bro, nobody cares about your 400-pound back squat. You can't do an overhead squat, and she's beating you. Suck it up. Figure it out. That is very, very, very hard pill to swallow. And the aesthetic it yields, I don't think that a lot of people would have hated on CrossFit in the early days if the aesthetic of getting good at CrossFit made you look like the winner of the Boston Marathon. That's a pretty undesirable, no offense to marathon runners, physique by most people. I don't think it would have taken as much hate if it made you look like, the winner of a strongman competition. Those people, again, not by generally speaking the most desirable physiques. When the Greeks made statues of Adonis, here's the perfect male physique. Look at a statue of Adonis and look at the podium at the CrossFit Games. The Greeks were making statues out of what physique CrossFit yields 2,000 years ago. And CrossFitters do it without bodybuilding. CrossFitters do it with strict diet and the most grueling and humbling and frustrating form of exercise out there. So you can get on board, do it, and look like a statue, or you can say, oh, it's bad for you. They don't care about technique. You're going to get hurt. That's your call.
I like that. And I think that's a great point, because Instagram really accentuates this, where you'll see something, they look at their overhead squat, they should have more external rotation in their arms, they should be putting their hips back more. It's like, well, you don't know where they're at in their progress. You don't know what they looked like before. Maybe what they're doing on that video, which they post on Instagram, they're proud of because they look so much better than what they were doing before. So yeah, I agree. It's super tough to judge that based on here's one snapshot of how I look today.
Another thing I hated so much. Oh, what's the number one rule of CrossFit? Never stop talking about CrossFit. It's like, dude, shut up. Let's be real clear. Anything you want to say about CrossFit that said it was a cult can be said about anything else. I'm a rugby player. Guess what? My teammates all hang out with each other. They have rugby friends. When they hang out together, they talk about rugby. And if you don't play rugby, they're going to be speaking another language. You ever hang out with somebody who golfs? You want to talk about a cult. All their extra time spent on golf, watching golf, terminology in golf, clothes specifically made for golf. CrossFit's no different than any other pastime that people get passionate about. But again, nobody's threatened by the guy with a beer belly taking back a 12-pack and being mediocre at golf. That's not threatening anybody. The person who lost 50 pounds, made a whole bunch of new friends, and looks fantastic in a swimsuit doing something you're not willing to do, it's easier to just talk smack.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a really good point. Just for the sake of time, I have 2 more topics I really want to get to.
Jen's got to spearhead them because she hasn't talked in 20 minutes.
So let me ask Jen. One, talk to me a little bit about with weightlifting, nationals, and that progress from nationals to worlds. And I wrote down your lifts. You did, let's see if I have them here. Snatch of 70 kilograms.
Yeah.
Is that right? Beating the previous record of 63, which is a 7-kilogram jump, which is huge on a world stage. Which is, what, 15 pounds about? Kilograms to pounds? Something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more?
2.1. I don't do well with kilogram math.
Yeah, me too. Too much math. Clean and jerk of 85, beating the previous record of 81, and then a total of 155. This is the biggest one, beating a previous record at 140. So that's 15 kilograms. Whatever the math is there for pounds is huge.
Like 30 pounds or so, yeah.
When I was doing the research for this podcast, that when you were all over the place as far as are you from North Smithfield?
Smithfield, yeah.
North Smithfield resident smashes world records. I'm like, this is awesome. That's badass. So, take me through that progress, because obviously you started with CrossFit initially.
Yeah, so I started doing CrossFit at Rhode Island. He mentioned it earlier. It was in Smithfield. It's closed now. And I had never lifted weights like Olympic lifted before. Normal gym stuff like bench and stuff, but never snatching, didn't know what that was. Never clean and jerking, didn't know what that was. You couldn't convince me to hook grip a barbell. That was terrible. And then I just kind of liked it. It was good. It was part of training or whatever. And then I switched gyms and went down to Ocean State and met Ray, and took Olympic lifting with him. They offered that as a class, and Rhode Island didn't offer that as a class. So I took it there, and just continued to get a little better. And I specifically remember one night getting a text from him, and sometimes Ray's texts come out of left field, and it was like, "Hi, so you've been PRing a lot lately, and I was thinking I looked some things up. How much do you weigh?" I was like, "What kind of question is that?" I didn't know about Olympic weightlifting. I didn't know it was like weight classes or anything like that. And I was like, "All right, here." And so he like screenshotted the local stuff, like New England numbers for my age and weight, and he's like, "I think you could be pretty good at this. Would you like to try a weightlifting meet?" And I was like, "Sure, I guess so. Seems fun." And he did it with me, actually. We went to Connecticut. His weightlifting coach was running a meet down there. So we went down, and that was my first meet. And I think I did well. I won, I think.
You won every time, everything.
And he did too. He won too. So it was something different, something pretty cool. So that was the beginning of that. And it was like, all right, well, then we both kind of did some research and like, all right, now what? Now what's the next thing? And then after that, I think another local meet, that one was it in Mass or also Connecticut? And it was like a qualifying meet to go to nationals, and then I went to nationals, and so I did some nationals and Pan Ams when I was in my 45 to 49.
Very cool. I mean, nationals alone is a feat that most people won't get to. Pan Am's even a smaller fraction of that, so that's really cool.
And then it went online for COVID. So the records like during COVID weren't real records; they were like online. You had to submit videos and stuff, but it wasn't on a platform. So it was like an asterisk next to it. But that was the first time I snatched 160 in pounds. I don't know what that is in kilos. But you had like more attempts. It was kind of a little bit different. You just had to do it within a certain amount of hours.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge, like, oh, I only did 3 attempts because you sent 3 videos in, type of thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
And then back to in-person competition, I think I turned 50. Like the timeline's a little botchy in my head, but the goals were to win nationals and set the records, and then go to worlds and set those records. So we went to Utah for nationals, and the goal was to set all the records, and we did. And
There we
then
go.
came back, and I was like, all right, let's go to worlds. And we did, and that was
Where was Worlds?
Orlando.
Oh, awesome.
It happened to
That's
be
easy.
handy, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
great.
like this year it's in Japan or something, like coming up. I don't know, it's far. But yeah, it's very nerve-wracking. It's very exciting. It's totally different than competing in CrossFit.
Totally. Yeah.
So
That's great.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I was just talking to someone recently, Crisanto, D'Agostino, no weightlifter, local guy, but I think he was Youth Worlds. They were out in like, I want to say Uzbekistan or something like that. Did to fly out there?
Yeah, that one moves all around. It just happened to be convenient for my life that it was in Florida.
Yeah,
That's
that's
easy to get
fantastic.
to. And it's happened to be at the same venue as we've been to a few times for nationals and Pan Ams. So it's familiar place and people and stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a surreal day. I remember everything about it, and like would love to relive that day. But
That's cool.
yeah.
As far as I'm pretty sure the open announcement just dropped. So I want to see what that is. But
You
before
want me to look it up?
well, yeah, we'll come in a second. Before we do that, I do want to talk about the class that you guys run. That was
Move to Heal.
Yes, yeah. So that, from listening to Savant's podcast, that seems like a really special thing that you guys do that not a lot of other. I haven't heard of any other CrossFit gyms do. Can you explain that class a little bit?
So.
Not sure how many do it. It is growing. I just saw an announcement for another facility hosting it. I just saw Move to Heal put that up today. But yeah, call it a dozen. I'm not sure exactly how many. You can field that again. I talked for quite a while.
So Move to Heal is a nonprofit organization that their main goal is to pair fitness with recovery. So they partner with gyms, use us for an example. So they partnered with us, and we offer twice a week a 30-minute workout and a 1-hour recovery meeting. And the meeting is open to anybody with any kind of mental health issues whatsoever. So it can be ranging from addiction, it can be drugs and alcohol, it can be PTSD, stress, trauma, anxiety, postpartum depression, you name it, we have it. And there's no like qualification. Like, you don't have to show me your diagnosis to be able to come to the thing. Anybody who wants to be part of the group is fine. And if you come to, we offer 8 meetings a month, twice a week. If you come to 3 meetings per month, and 8 workouts per month, Move to Heal will pay for your gym membership. So people can come for free because they believe so strongly in exercise as a means of recovery. And they also offer mental health counseling. So if you attend, I think it's 2 meetings a month, you get free mental health counseling with a licensed therapist twice a month. And they also offer a nutrition guidance kind of program through Move to Heal. Yeah, it's awesome.
So say in 8, is it 8 classes?
So you have to work out 8 times a month to maintain your membership, and the workout that comes with the meeting counts. So if you do your 3 meeting/workout nights, if you come 3 Wednesdays, that's 3. You only have to work out 5 more times in the month. And it's been overwhelming how awesome it is. We started, it'll be 2 years in July.
Yep.
So it's been over 18 months, and we've had people that have been suicidal, not suicidal anymore. We've had people that we've seen their sobriety increase and the length of time increase. And like, okay, I made 6 months. Okay, I made 9 months. I made a year. People that haven't ever worked out in their lives doing the open workouts. Like a couple of the boys that I can think of off the top of my head, like walked in here and didn't know a thing about fitness. And all of a sudden they're like hitting the open as a registered athlete, like getting their first double unders and just like being part of a community. There's been like little groups of people that have made, I don't know, like friendships, and they have like a boys text and a girls text and like who's going to what class, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a gym in Boston that I think they're called the Phoenix. Have you heard of that?
Yep.
They have a kind of a similar model where it's
they offer free
for
classes. In the Phoenix, like you can do wherever there's a class, they can go to it. It's not necessarily a membership. I don't think I could.
I don't know the details.
We did
on
it here
either.
for a hot second.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Move to Heal is the workout is definitely cool, and that's what I thought it was originally. I said this in the talking about the Move to Heal podcast I was on a couple weeks ago. So if anybody watching this looks up Move to Heal on Instagram or on YouTube, you can see their podcast. I was on that. They dropped that last week. We've always been. I've had a pretty wild life. Made some mistakes in my life. Dabbled with some substance here and there, and fitness and sports has always kind of been what kept me on the right track. Even if I've kind of gone off the track, fitness and sports and has brought me back on the right track. So as a means to kind of pay that forward, there's been different programs over the years that have asked if they could bring people in to work out. And my answer would always be yes. If you want to come at like 8 p.m. or, during some off hours, you got a group of people you want to bring by all means. And then I've never charged them. I was just kind of like a good deed. And when we found out about Move to Heal, we thought that was the same thing. I didn't know what it was. I was like, sure, Move to Heal. You want to bring some people to work out? By all means, have a day. The answer is yes. I'll go get lunch with you, but the answer is already yes. And then we went and grabbed lunch with them and then found out what the program actually was. We would be building it. Move to Heal wasn't an organization that was going to bring people to us. We were going to build it. And it took a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. The program is a tremendous amount of work on Jen and I and this gentleman, Joe and Shayna and Colleen. There's 5 of us that run it at 401. But the 30-minute workout is not CrossFit class. We're not doing the snatch, handstand walks, because you get people that are coming in here from sober houses. You get people that are coming in from residential care facilities who have never worked out a day in their life. So it's more of a get the endorphins flowing, get a sweat going, safe environment for everybody to work out in. So you might, be like burpees, kettlebell swings, air squats, things like that. The workouts, after instruction and everything, about 20 minutes. But the real special thing that sets Move to Heal apart from just having programs come in and, take class is the 60-minute meeting that happens afterwards. So that's kind of set up like for the sake of conversation, just because most people are aware of it, it's set up like an AA meeting. It's anonymous. What gets said there stays there. But again, as Jen said, you do not have to be in recovery. I would say about 2/3 of the people are there in some form of recovery, either alcohols or drugs or both. But probably a third, maybe more, are not in substance abuse recovery. They are there for, again, some sort of emotional, mental trauma, PTSD. So that, we get cops, we get military people, we get, as Jen had mentioned, parents who have just, had a really hard time with what's going on at home, people going through divorce, people who have just lost a loved one. And when the floor is open, and sure, John Doe shares and it's about his battle with substance, but then Jane Doe shares and it's about losing her dad last week. And then Bill shares and it's about, his nightmares from his tour in Afghanistan. And all these people talk about what they're going through and their coping mechanisms. You leave with a really good sense of perspective on the world, on the people around you, what people have going on, one layer back from what you see. And it creates a pretty cool bond within the people, because you don't then talk about it in class. If you divulge something to the group on Wednesday night and then I coach you on Thursday, I'm not going to go up and bring it up, but kind of like I look at you and it's like, I know, so it's a really cool program. And that meeting is what sets it apart, other than simply rehabilitation group coming to take CrossFit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's an awesome format, and it's been cool to see it's been like successful, and you're getting people, local people. I'm sure like they're not coming from too far away, like in the local community.
Yeah, I'd say most people are coming within a 20-minute radius. There's a few people that do drive north of 20 minutes, but most people are probably about a 20-minute radius.
So you're making your community better.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more healthy mentally and physically. That's great.
Well, there's a lot of people, like Jenna said, people going back to work that were unfit to work for whatever reason, mentally or physically, that people reconnecting with their family after, a lot of, life choices, maybe dissolve some relationships. Just seeing people's lives improve simply by coming and, sharing their problems amongst a group of other people who are battling similar things. It's been pretty remarkable.
Their tagline is "Move a muscle, save a life," right? Yeah. And it's true. It's
I like that
saving
too.
lives for sure.
That's great. I'm glad we talked about that, because that was super interesting to me, that you had mentioned on the Survive podcast, and that's a really cool program you guys are running. That's awesome. Let's if you guys are okay with it, going over on time a little bit, see what the open workout is,
for sure,
and do a quick dissection of it. Yeah, because it's up now. Do either guys have it pulled up on your phone?
I do not.
We'll do a quick hang tight here. We'll see if we can get it pulled up. I don't have Wi-Fi, so I'm not gonna be able to grab it.
I'm one click away. Except
this
workout
week's
3.
Workout.
All right. All for time. 5 rounds, 10 thrusters, weight 1, 10 chest to bar. Rest 1 minute.
That is literally the workout he programmed 2 days ago.
No, actually,
literally, word for word.
No
5
way.
rounds for time, 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar pull up.
No, it was overhead squats, but I had said it was spun off from Fran
okay,
Inspiration.
Right. My bad. You're overhead squats. Right.
But rest 1 minute, then 5 rounds, 7 thrusters, weight 2, 7 bar muscle ups. Holy guacamole.
So light.
50 thrusters at 95-65, 50 chest to bar pull-ups, right? So high-level athletes going to hit that one. EMOM, right? That'll be like 5 minutes for the first piece. Rest a minute. Then 5 rounds of 7 thrusters, 135-95. Ladies have it easy there. Ladies, if I were to take 20 high-level guys and 20 high-level ladies at proportionally similar to each other, the ladies are going to thrust 95 easier than the guys are going to thrust 135. I usually program 135, 105 for that reason. Just, it is what it is. Go women.
Gross.
So 5 rounds, 7 thrusters, weight 2, 7 bar muscle ups. Now that's a situation. That's a situation.
That's gonna be tough.
It's not even just. I mean, that's how much do you chill on the first 5?
To be able to
1 minute off. 1 minute off.
A minute off.
Yeah, that's going to evaporate very quickly.
That's to add your weight.
That's like you take a knee, you throw some chalk on your hands, and it's time
It's
to
a minute.
go.
Yeah. Yikes.
Remember when I said I might do it today? Changed my mind.
Well,
Hey, I like it though. We're on the rig. we're with the chest bar. I got a heavy-ish barbell.
Nope, that's not heavy, sir. 65,
Yeah,
95.
35 thrusters. You're doing 50 thrusters at 95.65 before 35 thrusters at 135.95. That 135.95 is going to be tough. You'll be wearing lifters and a belt.
It's going to hurt.
You might not think so, but you're wearing lifters and a belt.
Knee sleeves, the whole thing.
But lifters are heavy. I don't like to do muscle ups and lifters. Yeah. That 1 ounce extra of plastic is not why you failed your bar muscle ups.
You think overall a good workout in the scope of the whole open?
Well, you had the first one, which is definitely inclusive, right? Burpees.
This one's knocking a lot of people out.
Yeah. And I thought the first one was decent, made everybody. They also gave a really long time cap, right? 15 minutes. A lot of people were able to finish. The single dumbbell, I know a lot of people don't instinctively grab 50 pounds for the gentlemen, 35 for the ladies. If you were to do, if I program like a devil press workout, most of the gym's not going to grab 50, 35. If you're doing the 2 dumbbell, style movements, but when you do the unilateral, the 1 dumbbell style movement, now all of a sudden you can raise the ceiling for it. So doing the single arm snatch in one hand as opposed to having to juggle it, I think that was a pretty inclusive workout. The cream still rose to the top. You saw the fittest people still put up the best scores. Our gym's best score was undoubtedly our best CrossFitter. It wasn't some fluke.
Yeah.
Second one, a little bit more mental toughness, a little bit more duration, a little bit more weight. Still pretty inclusive. Added in 1 layer of finesse, if you want to call that the double unders. But all of a sudden, you got people who avoided that all year long, trying to learn double unders in 4 days. And now here we go. Now we've got a lot of weight. I mean, a lot of reps, and we've got 2 gymnastic elements, decently inclusive in the beginning. A lot of people will be able to do the 5 rounds for time. And what will they get? 57 reps. There's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of people who get a score of.
That's 20 reps each.
107. So they'll finish the 10 thrusters and the 10 chest to bar. They'll finish those 5 rounds. They'll get 7 thrusters and they won't get a bar muscle up. And then starts the pyramid of every bar muscle up thereafter.
I like that. I'm excited. It's gonna suck, but they all do. So whatever. All right. So to wrap it up, just 2 last questions I'll leave you guys with. One is anything you want to plug, anything coming up like for the gym, for you guys, anything you're excited about. And the second question is I stole this from Tim Ferriss, but so let's see where we are. Are we closer to 95 or 295?
295.
So all right. So on 295, you guys get a billboard. A billboard for the day. You can put whatever you want on it. Usually it's like a favorite quote, mantra, or something you can say to your local community. But we'll start with anything you want to plug. Yeah.
So something we're very excited about is we're putting in a beach volleyball court.
Yes.
So excited. So
Olympic specs.
Yes.
The whole show.
Yesterday, Ray and I put on our gloves and cleaned out the whole back of the gym, and one of our members owns a construction company, so he's giving us a hand with that. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, weather dependent. We already have the net. We have all the stuff. Oh, we're so excited. We can't wait. That kind of happened organically, and boom, here it is. And we painted a few pickleball court lines outside.
I wasn't sure if you guys were joking when you talked about pickleball earlier.
It's really there.
No, that's
You
real.
got the nets, the paddles, yeah.
Just kind of our vision, our dream is to have this be a destination fitness location. So anything you want to do, you can do it here. So we're really excited for the upcoming season. So that's did I miss anything?
So I totally agree. That we're most excited about. We got CrossFit, and that is why people are going to come here. You're not going to come here if you don't do CrossFit in some sense. You're not going to come here just to do pickleball. You're not going to come here. You might come here just to do volleyball, depending on what we do for a league. But just this community is so warm and welcoming and so kind to each other. And people get here early before class. They're hanging out, stretching, rolling out. People hang out after class. I'll see. It's very common for somebody to make a 2 to 3 hour visit out of taking a 1 hour class because they're hanging out before, they're hanging out after. So providing an environment where there's more to do than just roll out before and after class. And we, it's been cold, right, and windy, but people have already started playing pickleball outside. Like, I'm just really excited to see, again, as Jen mentioned, like the fitness destination, like giving our community a really fun place to just hang out and do whatever they want to do. And it already is awesome, but it's just awesome is getting awesomer. And I'm really excited to see that this summer. It's going to be a real fun summer.
We just added CrossFit Kids too, actually.
Yep.
We literally just are announcing it this week, and it'll start in April. So
Getting the youth involved.
Yep.
I love it.
And if we were to put up a billboard, so Jen was in restaurant business for a long time. I was in restaurant business for a long time, and so much of how we run this place, how I used to run, my other gym, is definitely customer service. At the end of the day, it is, you have people who are voluntarily showing up, spending their hard-earned money, and you're providing them a service. If whether it's a steak and a martini, or it's a CrossFit class and a facility, we are providing a service, and it is our goal, it's our mission to provide you with the best hour of your day. You're coming here, or 2 hours, however long you want to hang out, 3 hours all dang day, skip work. But you're coming here to have fun, to achieve goals, and we want to provide you with the best service we can. So if we were to have a billboard, it would be black with
White.
very simple, bold right here, and maybe say like the fitness destination of Northern Rhode Island, giving you the best hour of your day. Or maybe just say the best hour of your day. I don't know, simple, because that's what our mission is.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. It was a blast talking to both of you.
Thank you,
You
man.
guys have a great space here.
Thank
So yeah, thank you. And Rhode Strength, we are signing off.
All right, thank you.
Cool.